from parts counter, and amateur racer, and then all of a sudden, your dad of all people, it's kind of the opposite for me situation. So it's totally interesting that your dad's like, hey, why don't you take a risk at this,
Yeah.
motorcycle magazine? That's super awesome.
In so many words, he was like, forget the school thing right now. Go do this.
Yeah. Dude, that's so cool, man.
Yeah.
What an interesting story.
Yeah. I think it's unique if nothing else, right? So,
yeah, for sure.
I feel fortunate for that, and that led into a career. I think it spans 7 years at magazines.
So you send that resume into Sport Rider. How quickly do you get in?
It was probably, honestly, 2 or 3 months, and to be honest, I almost didn't get in.
Really?
Yeah, so they had a guy who was already kind of working for the magazine in like a test role, and they actually were going to hire him. And I think the story goes like it was a day or two before he was supposed to start, and he like called up the editor of the magazine and was like, hey, like my wife says we're doing this other thing. I think they were like moving or something. Like
really?
She's doing this. Like I can't accept the position. So then I got the call.
You got the call.
Yeah,
hey,
it was
those details. When you're meeting the in-laws, those details, you were the number one pick the whole way through.
Oh, absolutely. I don't tell people that. Now I've just told everyone. I was not number one pick.
Changed his mind 2 days before, and then I got picked.
I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, though. So like, I almost like the fact that I wasn't guaranteed that position, like it almost didn't work out. Like I guess makes me appreciate it a little bit more, right? Like
it's more tangible.
It could have gone a way different direction. Like. Had that not worked out, so
okay, so Sport Rider, for anybody that's listening, is all road bikes. It's all obviously sport bikes, which are the full fairing. A lot of people call them crotch rockets, whatever you want to call it, the super high strung race bikes of the street, right?
Yes.
So you got in, which was right up your alley as a racer. You got in first day. You show up. What's the first day? What do they have you doing,
dude? So there's this thing every year every year they do it called EICMA, which is when all the manufacturers release new models.
Yep.
And I started at EICMA.
Okay.
And so they were like, there is 15 new bikes that need to get covered. And I was like, well, I don't really know how to write. And I literally I sat down at a desk and I just like went through everything. It's like EICMA is the busiest time of the year for the motorcycle industry.
You're just writing all the new changes.
Yeah.
It's more of like a news thing at that point.
I sat down at this computer and I just faked it till I made it, man.
Really?
Dude, I still look back at that first magazine that I contributed to. I had a couple stories in there, and I'm like, how did I do that? Because I went into the interview for this job, and they were like, do you have like samples of writing? And I was like, I don't. Like, I obviously I wrote essays in school here or there, but like,
right.
I don't have anything. So they like sent me away and they were like, go back and write 1,000-word review on a product and email that to us and we'll go over it.
That's cool that they didn't just write you off.
Yeah.
They gave you another shot.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely. Cool. So, no, I'm not a trained writer or anything like that. I didn't go to school for that. I didn't think about it growing up. I just learned, right? Like I said, fake it till I make it.
Yeah, one day at a time.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So, okay, so looking back, again, this is off of Google, these little bullet points, but you had 5 years at Sport Rider.
Yes.
Okay, so you're starting, you faked it till you make it. At what point were you kind of going over the hill and said maybe, because I know you went to Cycle World next, which is kind of it is a huge broad spectrum of basically all motorcycles.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So where were you at that you kind of thought, maybe I should broaden my horizons. Maybe I should branch away from the sport bikes a little bit. And there's sport bikes at Cycle World. You know what I mean? It's everything.
Yeah.
But what kind of garnished that decision, do you think? You know what I mean? Was it just kind of the grass is always greener, or were you starting to get into other bikes?
No, I mean, it was a couple things. I mean, obviously from a business perspective, and I try to live my life looking at like 5-year plans.
Yeah.
And I think I saw the direction of Sport Rider. It was a small magazine, and I knew resources were always going to be limited, and if anything's ever going to be on the chopping block, it would be that. And I kind of looked at that, and I felt like, how do I set myself up for the future?
Yeah.
I'm a creature of habit, and change terrifies me. So like the idea of moving over from something that I did for 5 years Fortunately, they were like in the same office, so we were in the same publishing company. And literally, when I changed jobs, I moved one desk over or something, you know. So like it was baby steps for me, and like they made it easy, I guess. But
big jump.
Yeah,
it's a big jump.
It was a Bradley-sized jump for sure. But
that's funny.
Yeah, I was trying to look at my future, you know, and kind of do my best to set myself up for the long run. You know, want to stay in the industry, but just see how to do that. And at the same, so there was that aspect, and the other aspect of I love anything with tools and a motor. Like,
totally.
And I didn't want to be confined to sport bikes, right? Like, I moved over and I was able to ride cruisers, adventure bikes. I rode a snow bike, like. Dude. Stuff that I just would have never had the chance to do at Sport Rider, so it was opened a lot of doors for that. And I think also just Cycle World being a larger magazine publication, associating myself with that and putting my name to that, you know, I knew it would open more doors in the future, you know, on manufacturer side and things just like that.
Building that resume and everything.
Exactly.
Like that.
Yeah.
Dude,
that was it. So that was my thought process, and it worked out. So.
Dude,